So I have a quick question, Venkat.
Yeah, please.
I'm sorry to cut you off. Yeah, I mean, during the installation vCenter, so
Hmm.
we disabled all the Windows firewall. So why do we need to why do we need to disable the firewall, all the firewalls? Just curious.
Well, if you don't disable the firewalls will not allow any communication to the servers. You cannot ping, you cannot take the remote desktop of it, or you simply cannot do it. You simply cannot do any activity on the network.
Oh, so how about I will be like vulnerable to hackers or maybe for data? Is it safe? I don't know. Just
Well, most of the times when you have group of servers in your company, the firewalls are disabled because people within the company will be using the servers. Okay, when somebody from the outside office wanted to access your infrastructure, the request will first hit your firewalls. Okay, there is a dedicated firewall in your office premises that is between your internet, between internet and your office network. Okay, so anybody who's an external user, who's a user from the internet, is hitting your servers. He has to hit your firewalls, the physical firewalls, and then he has to pass through. So the firewalls have already configured with the secure protocols and rules and everything. So user is only allowed to get into your infrastructure if he passes through all that security check. So did I answer
okay,
your
got
question?
it. Thank you.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
thank you. So well, once you install the vCenter server, you have to install your vSphere client. If you already have one, you don't have to, but you have to install vSphere client and then configure SSO. Okay, so let me take the console of the vCenter now. So this was our vCenter, if you remember. Just to double check if the installation has complete, I'm just going to services.msc. If you see the VMware components here, right, you see the vCenter configuration service and VMware Virtual Center Server is a service that is started and it's running state. Okay, so this is what you have to look at. And then the same way, the other day what have we done? We have mounted the vCenter server installation media. I just open it up. The same installation media would have your vSphere client. Okay, the vSphere client. The same way that we have installed the vSphere client earlier, I'm installing it now. So it is just like the few clicks, nothing fancy here. It's the default. Accept, next. That's all, the defaults that you have to take. So if you see the client installation is complete. So I just say finish and you see a client here on the screen, right? So when I double click it, I just wanted to open it up. And now if you see, we have to give the server name, username and password. All this while we have been practicing to provide the ESX server IP or the name, the root and the password. But this time we are logging into the vCenter server. We are logging into the vCenter server, and the vCenter server IP address is 192.168.1.59, right? Or you can also try uh, amvo-vc, and the username is administrator at the rate. You remember this user? If you remember, at the time of installation of the vCenter server, we gave the password for this user. Okay, the password was, like I said, VMware. The password was this. This was a password. Okay, so this is an input that was given by us during the installation. So at this point of time, this is the only user who can log into the vCenter. If you observe, this is the same client that we have used to log into the ESX, and the same client that we are using to log into the vCenter server as well. Okay, the only difference is it is vCenter server and that was ESX. Okay, so the vSphere client has got the intelligence to understand which server did it connect to. Okay, and it is gonna show you the appropriate features. If you connect to the ESX, you will see the features that are related to the ESX. If you connect to vCenter, you will see the features that are related to the vCenter. And you see the evaluation, we are running the vCenter server in evaluation version, so it is available in for 60 days by default. So we've already used 3 days, so it is available for 57 more days. This is how it looks like. Okay, so in this console, like I said earlier, the left hand side is called the inventory, and below are the tasks and events that we perform. The data centers, the virtual machines can be found here, the host can be found here. So the console is little different from the earlier console that we used to see, isn't it? Yes, you have additionally the data centers option, the ESX host option. These are the two new tabs that we are seeing. And alternatively, if we go to the home screen here, the whole lot of new features that you can see, So in the inventory, there are 4 major views. One is the hosts and virtual machines view. Here you can only see the ESX servers and the virtual machines. And the networking, sorry, the virtual machines and templates, if you go, you can only see the virtual machines and the templates. So the other views, the data stores and clusters, networking. We will go there when we have the data populated here in the inventory. But if you observe the SSO, the single sign-on configuration, for example, now if you see here, it is vSphere.local administrator is the user who have connected to. So if you have 10 administrators in the company and all 10 uses the same account, and if somebody must mistakenly done something, it is a problem. We cannot trace it who have done what. So we will create, the Active Directory users will get an access. Active Directory users will get the access. If you join your company, your login will be created in the company, and that same login will have access to all company's resources. Okay, so to get that functionality, we have to configure the SSO. SSO is available only in the web client. it is not available in the vSphere client. So 192, it's 59 is the IP address. Proceed. Okay, here you see I'm saying logging into web client. Login into the web client. Now it will bring you a login URL. Sorry, well, I mean, as you know for a fact that our base server is not part of the domain. If I go to properties of this machine, my machine is part of our group, not part of the domain. Okay, so it is common that the DNS resolution is not found here. That's fine. But for we definitely need, see, oops, Well, I'm just trying to create a host file for the name resolution. So how this will help us is, since we need okay, the problem here is I have the internet connectivity here, right? So there is a site with iDesign.com. So it is actually going on to the internet. You see here, it is a company. So it is going to this particular site, then routing the request internally. Okay, so that was a problem that vCenter server was not able to connect to us with the name. But if you see, when I put the host name amvo-vc, it was actually working for us. Got it? And then when it is actually redirecting to the company name, that's when it is getting us some problem here. So what I wanted to do here is, for time being, I wanted to add one more network interface card which will get the internet connectivity, so that I'll install one of the browser. Okay, I'll install one of the browser. You may ask me a question, Venkat, we already have the Internet Explorer in the machine, in the server. Well, the Internet Explorer would not work for us. I've just added one more network interface card to this server. You see, this Internet Explorer is not a user-friendly site for us. It just doesn't work fine. Every now and then it just throws you. So now it is going to get installed for us. Once we have the Chrome ready for us, that's when we can actually work with our vCenter server. Well, the problems that we are facing is because the base mission that we are trying to operate from is not part of the domain. So we are just finding a way to reach to the vCenter server. Okay, so the Internet Explorer it keeps you keep asking you for the certificate confirmation and all that stuff. So that's one reason we did not like it. So this time we are operating it from the vCenter server itself. When I put the name, that is amvo-vc, it just works for you. Let me do this. You see, it's been redirected. I will be able to log into the vCenter server now with the username and password. So this time we are able to redirect. If you see the vSphere client, we are able to log in with the same user, and here also we are able to log in with the same user. I say idesign slash, sorry, it's administrator @ vsphere.local and the password. Now we should be able to log into the vCenter server, that is of your vSphere web client, and we should be able to configure the SSO, the single sign-on service. How the single sign-on will help you? The single sign-on, the idesign.com that you have and the users from idesign.com. For example, you joined a company called IBM. Okay, now IBM will give you a username, the default login username. So that login page, sorry, that login user ID will be used to access any kind of resource in your organization, in the entire organization, be it a printer, be it a server, be it a computer, all resources. So here also the company domain that we have, that is idesigned.com. For example, we have a service account that is idesig designed slash svc vmadmin. With this particular username and password, let me check if I am able to log in. I will not be able to log into the server. You see, cannot complete due to incorrect name and password. svc vm admin, and of course I give the right password. Let me try one more time just to make sure that we did not pass the wrong password. You see, it is throwing an error. I am not changing neither username nor password. Let me go here and configure the SSO and come back and show you how does that works. If you go to administration here, and if you go to single sign-on and the configuration, in single sign-on, in configuration, identity source, you click on plus mark, okay, Active Directory, the integrated Active Directory, and this is idesign.com. Just say okay. So this identity source got added now. Okay, idesign.com got added. I go to access control, I go to global permissions, the manage. At this point of time, you can see all of the vsphere.local/administrator. That is vsphere.local is a local domain. I say add here. In here I need to search that svc-vmadmin, sorry, not in vsphere.local, idesign.com. You see, I search for the user, add him, say okay. And this user, what role should he play? Say administrator. Okay, you can also choose one of those roles. pre-configured roles. I say okay. Now this guy has got the permissions. iDesign.com/svc hyphen vmadmin. Let me log in now. The same username and password. I did not change anything. You see, now we are able to log in. Now any user from iDesign.com will be able to log into to vCenter server with the defined role in there. However, that SSO functionality is not available in your vSphere client. That is only available in your web client. Got it? So once you log into the vSphere client, you have to configure your inventory. You have to configure your inventory, which is, you can see in the getting started tab, you see you have to create a data center, you have to add a host, add virtual machine, and that's when the setup completes. So if I right click here, you cannot do anything. You either have to create a folder or create a data center. So create a folder is a logical container. As you know, the folder, it is a container, right? It helps you structure the data or structure the hierarchy. So the same way, if you wanted to create a folder, you can do that. Or else you can create a data center, but without creating a data center, you cannot do anything else. Let me create a data center here. And I wanted to call it as CA, California. Okay, I have a data center in CA. And then if I right click over the data center, that's when you can see add a cluster, add a host. At this point of time, we just have one host that was created by us. This was the server, if you remember, right? We have installed this server. Let me add the server here, 192, or else we can also call it as AMVO ESX-01 root the password. So add ESX is nothing but you're adding that ESX to the inventory so that you can monitor many ESX servers from a single console. So that's all. You don't have to do anything, nothing fancy, all defaults. And then this guy will go and adds the server to the inventory here. Got it? And as we at least need 2 ESX servers, I'm just going quickly to create one more ESX server. The standard practice that we all do. You know what am I doing here, I believe. Yes, you know, right? So I'm just moving it to 8 GB. I put it to host only. I'm gonna add 4 network interface cards. So, okay, and I just power it on so that the installation would take part. I'm just quickly doing the installation of a ESX server. This is something that we've already come across. So I believe you are getting the point here. Once we complete the vCenter server installation, once you access it, We just added a ESX server here, and we're gonna add one more here, one more, and you can actually have 1,000 ESX servers in a single inventory. Earlier, what were we doing? We were, you open up a vSphere client and you say ESX01 root password. Okay, so this is how we manage, right? To maintain this ESX, we have to have this console. And if we have one more ESX, a similar console need to be opened. And every time you have to shuffle between the consoles. But this time, as we are getting the other ESX server also ready, you just can maintain all ESX servers in a single console. So it will take a couple of minutes to get the ESX installed. While it is getting ready for us, quickly, so whatever the tasks that you perform here in the vSphere client, one second guys. Okay, so the tasks that you perform here in the inventory are by default available here in your vSphere client. Okay, let me go home here, and I'm going to hosts and clusters view here. I'll see the same host available here. Okay, the clients are syncing with the server. Now I can do the same activities that whatever you can do here in your vSphere client. Okay, in addition to that, all advanced features like say certificates. Okay, you can renew a certificate, you can refresh the certificate. Can you see the certificates option here in the vSphere client? You cannot. So the vSphere client is an old client, like I said, and it is only available with the old options. Okay, the options that were developed earlier, but the new functionality, new options, new features, whatever was developed is only available in your web client. However, the base level activities, whatever we are doing, creating a data center, adding the host, creating a cluster, all the stuff can be done in both the ways. Can be done here in the vSphere client, and it can be done here on can be done here in the web client as well, right? Either way you do it, but you're doing it on the same server, so the data is synced across the servers. For example, if you're accessing your Gmail account, it really doesn't make much of a difference. You use Google Chrome, Firefox, Internet Explorer, you will see the same email, same content, right? Same number of emails and all, but you will not see separate mails or separate set of data when you log into the respective browsers. A similar thing here. No matter which client are you using, all the clients are getting sync with the server. That's the key here. So let me check if I have the ESX ready. Well, the ESX installation has completed. It's getting restarted. Once the vCenter is ready and it's getting restarted, sorry, ESX is ready and getting restarted, we will add that server this time using the vSphere web client. Okay, so what we have to give is 192.168 1.52 because it is host number 2, or we will also create amvo ESX02. Okay, either way we can do it. We say next, you have to provide the username and password. Root now it is trying to connect to the ESX server. However, the ESX server is just getting ready. It's just getting boot up for us. Okay, so in this situation, you will get the timeout error. It may not available or whatever the error, that is network error. Okay, so you see we have got some random IP here. We have to change it. So this is the initial configuration that we are doing now. If you remember, I said we have to configure the host name, IP address, right? So that's what we are going through now. 52 192.168.1.1 DNS server is 192.1.2 amvo ESX02. This is fully qualified domain name, iDesign.com. I'll save this settings. Cool. Let me see if it works this time. You see, it got the content. It connected to the server now. Okay, these are all the default settings. The moment you say add, tasks will be created, and the tasks will populate in the tasks and events. So actually in work in progress, you have to see, you must have seen the host is being connected here. Now host 1 and host 2. If I go to vSphere client, I will also see host 1, host 2. So the clients are different, however the content is same. Okay, so this is how you create a host. This is how you install a vCenter server, and you install vSphere client, configure SSO using web client, and then add ESXi host to the inventory. Okay, add ESXi host using web client. vSphere client, right? So this is a practical that we have done. I would ask you to do it to the same, and tomorrow we will see the clustering topics, or we will see the virtual machine topics. So there are very few topics left for us. Maybe by this week we should be done. And there is some material that I give you, maybe the recorded sessions that I want you to follow. So that's all for today. You may ask me the questions if you have any.